what you did, you little jerk.
Welcome back to another episode of the Circle of Jerks podcast, and we have the whole crew today. Actually, we got Andy, our semi-fearless leader. We have James back in his chair over here, and of course we have myself. You know, hey, I'm just the pretty face behind the camera, and we have a new
with the jokes.
Yeah. Pretty is definitely not. It's an exaggeration. But whatever. No, but anyways, we have our lovely guest over here, and she is a world traveler, a business owner, and all around cool gal. And welcome, Christina, to the podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, guys. This is exciting in this setting because I'm normally hanging out with you guys with a lot of food,
a lot of drinks.
Well, we have the drink part down. We don't have the food. I apologize for that.
A lot of dim lighting. Now I see all your faces.
Hey, you're actually really pretty in real life. I didn't see you without the dim lights. All right.
Beer goggles, right?
Anyways, to start us off, how to introduce you, how do you come to know us all and share how you met your first experience with us?
So I met James years ago, right?
I think it was like 2013, 2014.
Years ago at a mutual friend's housewarming party.
Okay.
And I don't think I saw that friend since that party. Maybe one other time.
Kevin
Not a
Kim,
great friend.
Love you. Kevin Kim, we love you.
Yeah,
crazy
but that's how I
works,
met James, and we've been consistently on and off, hanging out for several years now, and it's always been a blast. And that's how I met Andy and Rob. Right? I think that's what you do. You bring a lot of people together.
That's what I love doing.
You have so many different connections from different parts of wherever you are in life, and I think it's really cool that you're always consistent with me and everyone else. And I really appreciate that.
That is definitely James's talent.
Yeah.
He has a way about him where he is a social butterfly and is able to connect people in a certain way. Something that I definitely admire about him.
He's definitely like the most non-judgmental and open-minded person that
Definitely.
I've met. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm definitely the grouch of the group.
I don't see that. I have not seen that side of you.
Oh, okay. We were just talking about it. Just get in the car with him.
Yeah, just get in the car. Just go.
Like around traffic time, you'll see a whole different Robert.
Yeah, we were talking about road rage.
Oh, bad.
Why do you care?
I was kind of surprised, but hey, it's like the Hulk. The Hulk comes out.
It's like consistently. Someone in front of him will like tap their brakes. It's like, come on, you idiot.
It's so hard to believe.
That's the
inner Hulk.
Believe it.
You said that a lot nicer. There'd be a lot more.
I know. No, I cleaned it up. I definitely cleaned it up. All right, but just go in the car, get in a car with them, travel for 1 mile, and you'll see.
It's not quite that bad.
It might be from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we all have that side of us, right?
Yeah.
That rage side, but it's cool. But, it's really good seeing you. I see Christina maybe even just a few times a year, but every time we see each other, it's like,
It's always great seeing you.
It's always cool. Always good
I feel like there's
right?
never this gap, right?
Yeah,
it's never who is this person now?
Who
It's
are
like,
you?
no, we're good. Always good vibes, good people. And I always know that when I hang out with you guys, it's going to be a good environment, right?
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
No drama. There's no
I'm
weirdness. And that safety and that security is what makes me so drawn to you guys when I do have time to hang out and go out.
Who are you again?
I don't know, because well, I know it's been a while since we see each other, but since I was working on your photos, I was looking at your face for like a good long while. So I'm like I'm pretty sick of looking at your face.
That's too bad because we're like across.
I know. Like I know. I have to sit here because I have to, keep an eye on the equipment.
See,
and stuff,
I don't feel bad for you at all.
You should have been in this.
So lucky.
I know.
You should have been in this seat because then you can just kind of like.
I know. Then I could be like.
So many people are jealous of you. So many people are jealous of you. It's okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why they would think.
So apparently
that.
she did a photo shoot with Andy, the photographer. So wait for that, guys. I actually saw a few of them. Looks pretty cool.
Well,
very nice, very photogenic.
Well, we'll talk about that. Like, how did that come about?
It's so funny. I didn't think I had enough photos of myself. Like that was something that I know it sounds really
that didn't sound narcissistic at all.
I know, right? But I don't really care how it comes off. But like the truth is, I I adore Andy, and I think he's very talented, and I've seen his work, and I just wanted to be somebody that was photographed by him. And I'm so I'm so glad that we did that. It was a lot of fun. So as narcissistic as it is, I actually just got better from getting sick last year. And I lost like maybe 25 to 30 pounds.
Yowza.
You did slim down, I know.
Yeah.
That parasite virus. That parasite diet, woo, miracle worker.
And it was, I took some time off. My phone was messed up. I wasn't getting my notifications, and
that's what it was. That's why
it really was.
I'm just kidding.
And
cool.
for several months, I didn't get my phone fixed because I needed this space and this time to heal, because I was also healing with my body, right? And I thought like working with Andy would have been like a great way for me to be like, hey, you know what? Like I should be photographed, right? Like I never felt really comfortable being in photos, even when I'm traveling. You won't see a lot of photos of me. There'll be some, but you won't see a lot. And there was a reason for that. And it was just a way for me to just feel like, okay, I can do this. I'm so awkward behind the camera and like being photographed, but I want to be better. This is something that I need to work on like for myself.
That's awesome.
And like I know Andy, right? So I felt very comfortable with him. So it was great.
Cool. I'm excited to see the final touches. That's awesome. Can we talk really quick, just for the people, like, can you share your story briefly, your little bio? We don't even know your bio.
I don't know how to describe my bio.
You don't have to be that detailed, just to get a context.
Well, my name is Christina.
Really?
So I guess just a really quick overview of where I am now. So I'm an entrepreneur. I just started my jewelry business very recently, but I've been making jewelry for several years. And I got into the industry after being a local reporter. And I had some issues with that, where I came to jewelry, and it was an amazing way for me to connect my love for creativity and creating something, and my love for anything that was inspiring, which includes beautiful colors and cultures and buildings and people and emotions that I feel. And I think that's why when I was traveling, I was able to be inspired so much. Right, I saw this I discovered this creative side of me, where I'm seeing different cultures and colors, and how people put things together, and what's traditional and what's beautiful about that, right? Instead of like trying to be more modern and be more westernized, how can I mix these two loves together?
Right.
So it was a perfect thing for me now. So that's what I do for work. I custom make jewelry. And I'm also starting like different websites. We can talk about that later, but it's not a priority. And yeah, I love to travel. Really nice.
You're born in the States, born and raised here?
I was actually born in Korea.
Okay.
But I moved to the United States when I was 1 year old. So I identify myself as an American.
Okay.
Right? So when I go to Korea, I feel like a foreigner. Right? I'm like, okay, this is different. I have to adjust myself a little bit to fit this culture, which is very strange for me, because I love being free and doing whatever I want. And I don't mind like adjusting certain things to fit in certain cultures. But in Korea, it's a different story, because I'm Korean. So there's like a sense of me that's like, hey, I should belong here. But it's like, wait, but I don't feel like I do. So who am I? I'm American, and I just like grabbed onto that identity.
Right.
I feel the same exact way. I mean, I'm very quote unquote Americanized, but your Korean's really good though, yeah.
Yeah, my Korean's really
So you
good.
could get by,
I can pass by certain phrases and certain words. I love Korean food.
Yeah.
I can teach someone how to read and write Korean within 2 hours or less, depending on how intelligent the person is and how fast they learn.
we got a tutor right here. You guys want to learn something?
I would also identify myself as an American. I know I look Korean. At least that's what people
Chinese.
tell me. Yeah.
Let's go. Do you have any siblings?
I have an older brother. He is like 1.5 years older than me. I can talk about my brother for hours because I love him. I think he's an amazing, kind, giving, selfless, just loving person. So it's just, I'm going to stop because I love him so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very supportive.
Usually there's a lot of like sibling animosity. Like, I hate my like siblings.
Oh my gosh, no, I have so much love for my brother. And we
good.
have so much love for each other. And I think it's because we went through a lot as kids. And we both chose family over anything else. We always chose each other.
That's awesome.
Over anything else, yeah. So I think that's kind of something that was instilled in us when we were really young. I remember when we were children and I would fight with my brother, my mom would always tell us, like, okay, why are you mad? Okay, why are you mad? And she'll listen. She's like, okay, you apologize, right? And we both apologize, and she'll make us hug, right? She made us do that every single time.
Oh, wow.
So that
Awesome.
when we fought when we were older, that's how it always ended. We'd always discuss it. And they would be like, hey, I really love you. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I love you too. I totally understand. It's okay. And then we'll hug. Like we still,
Wow.
we still interact in that way.
This is so weird because, the last podcast was your friend Junsup, and he was talking about how like his dad was like very like he wasn't like traditional Korean dad,
Right.
Like, you know, like my dad was like even if like you didn't do anything, you would still get in trouble.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I explained in the last one like even like if you had nothing to do with it, my dad would be the one to like line up everybody and like and punish everyone, regardless of like. Because one time like my cousins were like messing around with my older cousins were messing around with one of my other cousins and made them cry. My dad lined us all up, and me and a group of other cousins were on the other side of the house just minding our own business. And he called all of us in and he lined us all up and he made us do punishments. All of us, we like even though like me and my like two other cousins, we had nothing to do with what was happening over there.
It's that military punishment.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
that military punishment.
You know that very well,
Yeah.
don't you? You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that sounds familiar.
Oh yeah.
But that's a pretty cool tactic that your mom used. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good work.
she
Alright, so-
she always discouraged us from, shouting or being angry or being like when we like throw erasers at each other. She always discouraged that, right? And I think I'm so grateful for those years with my parents, right, where they like teach you how to handle problems. And when you're a kid, it's annoying. You're like, why are you telling me what to do? But you appreciate it at the end. And
Right.
I think it's because, she instilled a lot of love in how we deal with situations. And I think that's what I'm really thankful for.
We definitely appreciate those lessons as adults. At the time, it's like, oh my god, just go away.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, let's talk a little bit about your, to start off your jewelry business. Like, how, what do you make? Like, what you talked about? You like, usually utilizing creativity and making inspirational things. But like, what type of jewelry do you make? Obviously, I don't know if you have a sample with you at all.
Yeah, I didn't wear anything. I was like rushing out. People have been asking, like, why aren't you bring your jewelry? I'm like, well, when I'm working, I can't like have bracelets like slamming my.
Yeah,
you know?
obviously. So obviously bracelets, you make a bunch of those. Do you do anything else?
Yeah, I make anything that's made out of silver, gold, diamonds, gemstones, anything. So I do a lot of custom engagement rings.
Okay. Oh, okay.
A lot of people who have jewelry from their grandmother, then we would take the stones, we'll melt the gold, and we'll make something out of it together, right? Kind of make it their thing, right? Or if you just want jewelry, then I can just get it made, right? So it's been a lot of customizing. In terms of my designs, a lot of them are in my my portfolio. I have been making a lot of healing beads, like for bracelets, a lot of crystals and gems, and those are actually inspired by different countries that I've been to.
Okay.
So the colors, or there are specific pieces that I bought from India that are in my bracelets. And it's categorized by different country, and it's part of my Fernway collection, which is like all travel related.
Yeah, so your travels have really helped with your business, and as far as like giving you new ideas and.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful and beautiful thing I ever did for myself, right? Because it's something that I did for me, right? It wasn't like for school. It was nothing. It was just me wanting to see this world. And ever since I was young, I think I always loved traveling, even though I never traveled.
Yeah.
Right. I just love the idea of it, and I just loved going to new places and exploring. And so I think when I was finally able to do that and I had the time to do so, I kind of went bananas.
Yeah.
I went crazy, and I was like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to really, really be here. Like, I'm here to experience everything, and I'm open.
When did that first start for you? Like, as far as the jewelry business, was it just what made you like, you know what, this is what I want to do, and how did the whole thing start?
So, like I said, I pursued a career in journalism. So
Right.
I had like my own show in San Diego. I did like local reporting and stuff, and I had this one job with this particular company. I'm not going to say the name, but I got fired because I didn't want to sleep with my boss.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right?
good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And every single time I pursued that would keep hitting me, right? That kept coming up. And it came to the point where I was like, I like, no more. You know, this isn't, like, I was pissed off, right? I was like, this isn't fair. I worked since high school for this career. Like, I worked really hard for this. Like, I'm good at this. But that doesn't matter because I don't want to do something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I just got really mad. So I just started DJing. And
DJing.
yeah, I started. Yeah, I don't really talk about it because I didn't even have a DJ name, right? But I only got gigs because I was like a
DJ Felicity. There you go.
I only got gigs because I was like an Asian female, right? And it just kind of felt like this isn't valuable to me, right? Like, I'm so much more than an Asian female, right? And I just didn't feel like it was the right fit. So that's when I pursued jewelry. I took a jewelry course in designing, and that's where I fell in love with it. And I think that was like 2013 or 14.
Okay.
So I was in that career for a while. Like, I worked for a bunch of different companies, and then finally I realized, like, last year when I got sick, I was like, I know what I want. Like, I know what's good for me. I know what's healthy for me. I know what I need. And that's what I'm going to focus on and pursue.
Yeah.
That's new information. Let's go back really quick to the DJ thing. I didn't even know that. That's cool. How did you get into that? Did you have turntables, or were you like an EDM DJ with a laptop and everything?
I mean, we had both,
Yeah.
right? So I got training in both because I started working for this production company, and so they trained me in it.
Very
and
cool.
then, it was fine, right? Like,
You played EDM or hip hop or both, or what?
Yeah, I played everything.
Okay.
Like, whatever the venue wanted, like, whatever feel that they were looking for, I would adjust to that. And I loved it at that time for like a very short period amount of time, just because I love dancing, you know this. I love having a great time. Like, I'm very energetic on like my DJ booth, right? And it's
You don't say.
and I'm like dancing to the music,
Yeah,
right? So it worked for me for a little bit, but I just didn't feel like it's something that I was meant to do, right? Like, I didn't feel like I knew it was temporary. I knew it was just like something, but it wasn't like my thing.
There was no fulfillment in it.
Did it
There
pay
was
well,
no
at
fulfillment.
least?
It was okay. It was just, you know,
Because it depends on where.
Yeah, it just depends, and I didn't really care about that, right?
Okay.
It wasn't really making me as happy. Yeah.
Was it with the speaking of it, you do like designing jewelry and stuff. I know there's a lot of work that goes into a lot of that. Where because I dabbled in like engineering and design and all that stuff, so I know how much work.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, you just throw a diamond. It's like no, there's so much. There's a lot of intricacies that go into the design as far as same thing with like fashion design. There's a lot of like drawing and hard work that goes into all that stuff. So I know you probably put a ton of hours into just a single piece. When you're
For
designing
sure.
something new.
And I love working with guys trying to buy an engagement ring, right? And that's very fun for me. And the reason is because they have no idea what they're doing, but they're so eager. Right? They're so open-minded and eager, and they're at like a very intense space. And it's fun just being like, hey, it's not a big deal. It's okay. Your budget doesn't mean anything. I'm going to make whatever I can to fit your budget, but we're going to talk about your options, and I'm going to be very clear with you, and I explain everything. And it's fun kind of seeing their transition from going like very anxious to like, wow, yes, this is the one, like getting super excited. Like, I get to help them in that process, and as much importance there is for the woman who's receiving the ring, there's also importance for the guy too, the experience itself. And I can't take that, I can't deny that, I can't take it away, I can't listen to any of that, right? It's fully his experience as well.
Right.
So that part's very fun and interesting because we get to kind of go through details. A lot of guys would be like, I don't really know what she wants. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's break it down. And we'll try to like find something. And they're so involved in that decision-making process that they feel even more excited. Right. And that's what I love is like being able to connect that emotionally because it should be an emotional process and a positive emotional experience, and being able to provide that is enjoyable for me.
It's one of the best and most like anxious moments.
It's very, they feel a lot of anxiousness. And I get it, right? As a woman, I'm like, I think it works that I'm a woman, right? Because they're able to express how they feel more. They feel like I know what I'm talking about, right? They actually like listen. to what I have to say,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're like, oh, you're the expert. And I'm like, that's true. But let's talk about what also you want. Like, don't forget that, like, you're part of this too, you
He's
know?
paying for
And
it, right? So-
yeah, that's
Right.
that's what I want them to feel. So
Hey, I guess when the time comes.
Yo, well, yeah, I
Go to
know.
you,
Well,
yeah.
because I've gone through that experience of just kind of like, thinking that through, and like I went through like the, as far as like making sure that the ring kind of like fits the person and all
Exactly,
that
yeah.
stuff, and then you have to also think about like gem design, and I know there's so much that goes into that too. It's a ridiculous process. It's not just some like fly by night, a ring, whatever. It's
Yeah.
not that. It's
Hey,
it's
that's
not
how I was
that at
gonna
all.
approach it. No, I'm
yeah, people are like, oh, how much
get
is
it.
this
Let's
ring
get
going to cost? And I'm like, okay, first of all, I can't answer that, right? There's no way I can answer that because there's so many different factors that changes based on the color, the cut, the clarity, the carat, right? If one
Right.
of that changes, then the price will fluctuate.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that explaining that to guys is always a challenge because for them, they always see it like very straightforward. And I'm like, jewelry's not that way. I'm so sorry. So let's break it down, right?
Right.
Let's use our logic in this process so that like you understand exactly what this all means and is. And in that process, like they change their minds a lot. They're like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the best one, or like, oh, this fits me better. Because when I ask a guy a budget, they won't give it to me first.
Right.
They won't give it to me, right? They're very like up and down, but when I eventually find that perfect number, that's when I'm like, okay, let's be proud of this number and like stick by it and like feel good about it because you're gonna get a great ring no matter what, you know?
Right. I also think too that sometimes it's a mistake. Everyone thinks like bigger is better, but I don't think that that's really always the case. At least when it comes to engagement rings, as far as like how it fits the hand. The type of the clarity I think is more important too. You want something that sparkles, but you don't want it to like dominate the hand. You don't need some like World Series like big big ring.
Yeah, so I
to
always
go on
ask them
there.
like, oh, how tall is she? Right. Let's talk about her personality. And for women, when I talk to my female friends or my female clients, I tell them, look, don't feel obligated to get an expensive diamond ring. Like if that's not what you want,
Right.
don't get it. Right. If you don't want a ring at all, like don't get it. Like I'm not here to like sell you on a product that you don't need. Like I would not feel good about that. So be honest about what you feel like would be best for your engagement ring because you're going to be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So you get to wear whatever you want. Like don't feel pressured at all. This is about you, right? This is about what you're going to love. And I'm just here to like help you realize or help you find that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, I might have to come to you like for some more
There's a lot
advice
to
on
learn
that.
for sure.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, it's not a simple process at
Yeah,
all. Everyone
I
thinks
bet.
it's just like, oh, you buy a ring, you spend like this much, and you're good to go. It's like no, it's not that at all. It's so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like spend whatever you want. Like there's no rule. Whatever rules you heard there out in the past, like it doesn't matter. Who cares?
right.
Who cares, right? Just get what you feel like is best. And I always encourage people to get whatever stone they want.
Right.
Right. But I'll tell them like this stone is good for wearing every day or this stone is not. So let me just tell you what the risks are so that, you're able to make the best decision for yourself. But I try to inform them and let them know ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm one of those like it's not necessarily the size, but clarity to me is like super important because it does give that like that
fire?
punch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that punch to it. So, so anyways, so obviously your world travels have helped you in your jewelry design. So why don't we talk a little bit about your world travel and to
Okay.
give us maybe some advice on traveling, maybe some of and experiences that you've enjoyed. But why don't we start off with as far as preparation for traveling, like what if someone is traveling for the first time, what would you tell them is like how they should prepare themselves?
I love this question. So whenever I decide to go to a country, what I do is I do a little bit of history research in that country, right? And then I learn a little bit of the politics as much as I can. And what I do is I try to learn the language as much as I can as well, right?
Right.
I try to see what is appropriate for a woman to be wearing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that implies the safety, right? My safety, which is extremely important. And so those things I research ahead of time. If I don't have that much time, then I'm going to learn as much as I can. For example, when I was going to Israel, I think I planned a trip maybe a day or two before. And I didn't have much time to do all this research. But during my flight there, I sat next to this lovely, lovely, lovely Israeli couple that literally gave me an entire list of words that I needed to know, numbers like 1 through 10, like different places I should visit, like things I should, worry or care about, like the culture and like all these different things, where when I was walking around in Tel Aviv, I was able to roam by myself because I knew exactly what to ask for. I knew how to say like, oh, where is this address? Where is this street? And I would give them the number in Hebrew.
When did you go to Israel?
I went there, I think, like 3 years ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I went there 2005.
Oh, yeah.
Tel Aviv, great. Yeah.
That is
a lot of them speak English, though, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
most of them
helps.
do, but a lot of people didn't. Like when I would ask people for directions, especially because I look Asian, they were kind of like confused. So I would try to speak Hebrew and just to get by. And the streets were all written in either Hebrew or Arabic, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I taught myself how to read Arabic. So that was the only reason why I was able to like go around by myself, is because I was able to pronounce the streets.
Dang, didn't you love it? I love this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Awesome. It was amazing.
That is one of the destinations I want to travel to.
Sure.
I've also found too, like if you make the effort to learn phrases or some of the language, they're definitely the people that they're kind of Americans, like, but if you at least attempt, like they're much more recipient to like that. It's like, oh, okay, you're at least trying, like, here, I'll speak English to help you out and help, and they're much nicer when that.
Yeah, it's also like a very personal thing when you're putting that much effort into learning a language or a culture or whatever. Then you're understanding that you don't know anything, right? Then you're understanding that you're there to learn, right? You're putting yourself in that mindset. And so when you're traveling, you're like, I'm not better than you. That mentality kind of goes away because you realize that you're not, because you don't know as much as a local person or as much as you do about your own country. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's like really great for the other person and for locals to have different perceptions on Americans, because sometimes it's not the best. But not only that, you realize within yourself, you're like, wow, like I am dependent on your kindness. Like I am dependent on like who you are as a human being and like connecting on that level, and not like just as a tourist or you just as a local, right? Like it's a different attitude and mindset, and they feel that energy.
Right.
They feel that
sure.
vibe, right? So in my travels, I've had so many different conversations with people, and a lot of people that I meet tell me that like I never talk to tourists. Ever. Like, I don't talk to tourists. I don't deal with tourists. I don't talk to them. I'm not friends with them. But my approach is very different. My approach isn't like, oh, I'm here to party, right? Like,
right.
You actually show respect of their culture.
Yeah, because it's a way for me to, like you said, show respect. It's a way for me to tell them, like, I'm a guest in your country, and I am here to learn about you, right? My intention is to learn about you and your culture and whatever life means to you. Like, what does love mean to you? What does pain mean to you? And what you realize is that it's all the same. Like, we're all the same people. Like, we have different backgrounds. We have different educational backgrounds. We have different cultures and languages. But at the end of the day, we all feel love. We all feel heartbrokenness. We all feel loneliness. We all feel confusion and brokenness, right? And we have this desire to connect with others. That is all, like, that is common wherever you are in this world. And you get to that point when you have this attitude saying, like, I'm a guest here to love and respect what your country has to offer. And that attitude in itself, like, opened so many doors for me, right? So many doors for me. And I'm so fortunate for that.
Yeah, because I always hear those, being in the military, you hear a lot of the horror stories of just, because, we employ a ton of people from all over the United States, wherever. Some that are, have never been outside of like their city and like their, whatever state they're from, and they don't necessarily assimilate very well to like when they have to go abroad. And so it was one of those things, like whenever I figured like, whenever I do travel, because eventually that's going to come, like, I want to go to like Korea, I want to go to Japan, I want to go to Israel. But it's like you don't want to be the guy or whoever to go over there and it's like, well, I'm an American, or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to be able to
with entitlement. And all
right,
that.
exactly, because
entirely.
We can do that here. That's fine. Like I'm definitely very brash and outspoken here in this country, but when I go to someplace else, I want to make sure like I'm making the attempt to at least know some phrases that I can use. Israel will be a little bit easier because I know a little bit of Hebrew. I studied it for 2 years, so I should know something. I can at least read it. So
yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, just being able to show a little bit of respect, kind of just be meek in a sense where you're not kind of being brash and just being humble, and I think that you show a little bit of respect to them. It goes such a long way.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people. I mean, I heard a lot of different stories from other people about their experience with Americans, and I don't want to stereotype people in general. But from my stories, the stories that I hear, it's very one way or the other. They're either very boisterous or extremely curious and open-minded, right? So I hear positive and negative things about people from my country, which identify as an American. And I think my goal as an American when I'm traveling is to show people that even though people look Asian like me, that they're still American. And that's kind of the main thing that I have to conversate with. And I didn't think I had to because I grew up in a state where there's so many different Asians from so many different parts of the world where it's not strange for another Asian to speak English. Right. But for another person in a different country that's like, what? Like, how did this happen? What? Like,
yeah, well, right. We talked about that before we started filming. It was the idea of the United States is so unique in the world. It's the first country in the history of mankind for where it's based off an ideology. It's based off of ideas and a creed. Whereas all the other countries that have existed well before us that have been around for thousands of years, it's usually based off of bloodline or whatever race you are. And so for us, we're very, very unique in that way.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of for people seeing us like, you're Korean, but you're not really Korean. You're American. Like you said before, I'm an American. I grew up here. I've grown under this idea, and going other places, it's just like even when you go to Korea, it's like I'm not from here. It's very different.
Do you identify yourself as Korean American or American?
I feel like I identify myself as American.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know why, but that's just how I feel. I feel like Korean American, or when I see other people being Korean American, like I don't feel like I fit into that category so much, right? I don't feel like a connection in that category.
So interesting.
Yeah, so I think traveling around the world kind of helped me find my own voice and kind of helped me find my own comfort and my own empowerment in that way where I'm like, I can feel whatever I want to feel, really, right? Like, yes, people would try to categorize me with whatever knowledge they think they have. But at the end of the day, like, what matters most is how I define myself, and what I feel most connected to is like the American culture. Right. I'm not the most happiest person with what's going on in politics currently, but I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of like the people who do make the right decisions. And, I have friends who are absolutely amazing people. So when I'm traveling, I'm able to talk about my experiences in Los Angeles. Right? Because people always have this idea of LA, like LA people, LA culture, and I love the opportunity to tell them like, no, people from LA are amazing.
Right.
Like I have the most genuine and open-minded and kind friends. Like I can't let you just say those things without me trying to say something to defend like the people that I know, right? Because I live there. Here, right? I live here.
Right.
There's so much diversity here too.
Well, we've over the last couple of podcasts, we've kind of talked a little bit about this in a sense too, where we look at things at this great monolith, like it's just this one thing, and it's really when you break it down and really look into it, it's actually very diverse. We've been talking about we've been very theological the last couple episodes. We've talked about Judaism. We've even talked about a lot about like Christian theology, and we kind of. From the outside, people who are not of those things, they just look at it as like this great monolith, and it's like, no, it's actually very diverse. And same thing with the United States. It's a very diverse everyone's very someone from California, even Los Angeles, as opposed to some other Californian city, to someone else from like the East Coast or somewhere in the middle of the country. It's very, very different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
America's so big.
Although I like to pose a theory. I don't think that people like from LA are the problem. It's the people that come to LA, the transplants.
I agree
It's
with
the transplants.
you 1,000%. That's
Exactly.
exactly what I've been
Yep.
saying.
Right.
And
It's like,
that's
go
what
away.
I tell people.
We're
That's
full.
what I tell everybody. They're like, oh, these people, like, blah. And I'm like, no, those are the people. Okay, let me explain this to you. I'm like, we, as a city, we just attract a certain type of people.
Unfortunately.
And they're just like all
Unfortunately.
here. So don't judge our city based on people who came here that were attracted to a certain thing, because my crew and like my several other crews I hang out with are down to earth. Like they're
Yeah,
amazing,
exactly.
like
It's,
solid people, like genuine, open-minded. Like they're not going to judge someone based on what they're wearing. They'll talk to you like a person and like make their decision based on that. Like I know I'm surrounded by people like that. So it really does hurt my feelings when people do talk smack about Los Angeles, and that happens almost every single country I go to.
No, yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
I've grown up here my whole life, and I talk a lot of trash about this city. But at the same time, like I've lived here my whole
But
life,
it's
and
your,
I
but
can't.
it's your city.
Exactly.
It's like you like crack wise about your mama, but then someone else says something. It's like, what'd you say about my mother?
Yeah, it's like, how
You know?
dare you,
Yeah.
sir?
It's like, only I'm allowed to talk smack about my city.
I
Right.
like it here for sure. But
Yeah.
no, that's something I really respect about you, admire about you. I think that's why I'm still friends with you, to be honest. One of the reasons, because you're really open-minded. You're cool. You're down to earth. You keep it real. You're not like some shallow K-town girl. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Can you imagine if I
there's
was-
plenty of
No,
those.
we wouldn't even. I wouldn't even.
I've
have,
met
like,
my
kept in
few.
touch
I
with
met
you,
a
so,
few in my day.
Yeah. So.
I mean, yeah, they're everywhere, right? In
Yeah.
every country in the world, and I think that's especially when people ask me about what the political situation is in the United States, and a lot of people are like, "What are you guys thinking?" And I tell them like, "It's not all of us, like
It's all over the place. I'll just say that.
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, okay,
Or
you
you
know
could
how
just say
every
like
country,
we're still here.
yeah, I'm like, you know how every country kind of has, their group of people who just don't really, they think differently, right? Every country has that, right? And when I put it in that way, that's when they understand. They're like, oh, okay, you're right, right? And I was like, our country's just really big, and everyone pays attention to it, and that's the reason why we know it, right? Another thing that I notice when I travel is that some people get very upset when I don't know a lot of things about their country, right? So as much studying as I could do, there's certain things that I wouldn't know, right? And most people are very coachable, right? Not coachable. I'm coachable, but a lot of people are very interested in, teaching me about their culture, about their language, certain things I don't know. And there's certain people that are like, how can you not know about this? Like, why don't you just Google it? Right? And it's like, man, this is really hard, right? Like, it's a very hard response, and I try to respond with as much love as possible.
We could always say like, well, I'd rather talk to you about it and learn it from you.
What I say, and it's very similar to that, what I say is, you're right in a lot of ways. We don't know a lot of things, but the reason is because all eyes are on us, right?
You know, we're the Tupac of the world.
Yeah, like a lot of people, like countries all over the world know about their news and about American news, right? So they assume that we know about our news and whatever country they're from news. And I have to explain to them, like, yes, we don't know a lot that's going on, but it's because there's so much news and attention in our country that
Yeah.
the news
Right.
that we're hearing is about my country. You have the luxury of learning about what's going on in my place and what's going on in your place because you live there. But I live in Los Angeles where news is like flowing out 24/7. Like we do the best that we can, and I truly believe that, right? And
Right.
you do meet people like that who are like, oh, why are you Americans like so this, and they're so ignorant, they don't know that. I'm like, I'm sorry, like
It's like, so what if you happen to not know everything about the
Well-
country?
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Sorry that I don't care about Scandinavia, but we've kind of talked about this a little bit too. Whereas we are at a time where we have more access to information than we've ever had in human history, but there's only so much that the human mind can really take in, and it's how are we utilizing that information. And sometimes you do get focused in on like I'm from Los Angeles, and you're focusing in on a career, and that's you could spend 40 years just on that one point. So as far as if you decide to be a world traveler, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades, and it's hard because I know this or that, but I don't really know everything. And
it's hard
they're expecting people to be to know everything. That's kind of it's a little frustrating. It's like, give me a break.
It is a little, and that's when I had to learn how to respond to that in a loving way, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, how would I know the most famous singer of your mother's time?
Right.
Like how would I know that? Like I don't know the Korean person either.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's people American pop culture. People don't history didn't occur until they were born, and they're like, well, who's that? And they don't even know their own culture, much less someone else's. If this was the United States, I'd just tell them to fuck off. But when I go,
you can't do that there, right?
Exactly.
You can't do that there. So it's like, okay, well, I'm learning about it now. Thank you very much. And I try to tell them, I'm like, hey, especially if they call me a name, like, oh, you're ignorant or you're closed-minded, right? That's when I'm like, okay. First of all, I'm not, right? I came into your country by myself without knowing anyone or anything, and I'm here. And I learned your language. I learned bits of your language. I'm learning about your culture. I'm learning about your food. No, I'm not closed-minded, and no, I'm not ignorant.
You're like the least closed-minded person.
So let's remove that statement, right? Let's first remove that statement. So let's really talk about what's going on. The reality is that this is, and I kind of just break it down for them, and it depends on the conversation that I'm having. But I do believe that it's an opportunity for us to connect. Right. And that's how I see it as. And if I came off to them very angry, then they would be like, oh, see, Americans so ignorant. And that's not my point, right? My intention is to be like, hey, let's switch this around a little bit, right? Would you know about Korean culture? No.
Exactly.
You wouldn't.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? You might be very interested in Korean culture. You might like the food and the idea and the drama. But for me to expect you to know anything about Korean culture is crazy. You don't really research on every single country in the world, right?
No, it's just it's impossible.
Yeah, same here, but it's just that there's so much U.S. news available in countries, in so many different countries. I don't want to say every country, but in a lot of countries.
Well, I think of Europe, where you're connected to so many different countries, and a lot of people know a lot of different languages, and so they it's not just English news; it's European news. But they also know us because we are kind of we are the superpower of the world, to say the least.
Show.
Exactly. We have so much that drives the rest of the world, so they have access to it. Whereas, there's so much that happens just within the United States. It's really hard to have that focus on every other country in the world. Unfortunately,
and I try, right? I try to get world news, and I try to study as much as I can before I enter into a country.
Right.
But even then, I'm going to be missing a lot of pieces of information, and I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with asking questions. I'm okay with looking at checking out locals and wherever and asking them questions.
Absolutely.
And I've done that before. I've spoken to random people about it, and I love doing that. And that's an opportunity for me to learn. But yeah, if anyone ever comes across someone who talks smack about them just because they don't know, it's like, hey, approach it with love, right?
Yeah, and that I think that's the best way to approach it. At being as someone who is a Christian, obviously that's the way I would approach it. Is I'm not trying to come here to be a jerk and anything.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've definitely gotten fierce when it needed to be. When it needed to be, I've definitely been fierce, and I was like,
be
this
meek.
is wrong.
Yeah, be meek, not
okay.
weak.
Yeah.
That's a.
Yeah.
So I noticed you travel a lot by yourself.
Yeah.
Is there just a certain reason for that, or?
It first started off because I had a job that just gave me weird schedules.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't want to wait for someone to have that time available and to actually put in the effort to travel somewhere. So I made a decision for myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm either going to wait for the rest of my life or I'm going to do it myself. And that's what I did.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially being female. I mean, sometimes it can be a little dangerous.
Yeah, I was talking to Rob about it earlier, how there was a moment in my life where I said to myself, I don't want to make any decisions based on fear. Right? I don't want to be a fearful person because I want to identify myself as a fearless person. That's who I am. But I'm having certain fears about different ideas and events and situations. And traveling and really putting myself where I don't know anybody, I don't know what's going on, I really have to just go with my gut and just walk a path in hopes to meet a kind stranger, which I had to do. Like, that showed me how resilient and how protected I am, right? And how important it is for women to go with their gut, to not compromise on what they feel is safe for them, right? Because I think women in general, they feel bad, right? They feel like they owe someone something if someone does something for them or whatever, right? I never felt that way, and I never will, you know? And I make very clear what my intentions are and where I'm at, and I don't give in to something that I don't want to. And I don't feel bad saying no, and people have gotten offended. I was in Puerto Rico, and I just came back from this like really magical trip, and I had some friends who were picking me up from the port. And as I was waiting for them, I had to go use the restroom, but there's no restroom there. And there was this guy started talking to me. He was like this boxer. And we were chatting, and then he was like, "Oh, you can use my bathroom." And I said, "No, thank you. I'm just going to wait for my friends." And he said, "I'm not a bad guy, right?" And I'm like, "I didn't say you were." Like, I just said, "No, thank you."
You got all defensive.
But like, I already didn't feel like, you know, I just felt a little uncomfortable. I was like,
yeah, of course.
I'd rather pee in my pants and like, you know, go in a situation where I'm uncomfortable. So I just said no. Like, I wasn't feeling negative, but I just wasn't fully feeling it. So I just chose not to. He got so mad. He's like, "I don't know why you think I'm a bad guy. I didn't do anything. Like, I'm a good guy. I wasn't going to do anything to you." And I was like, "I never said you were. Like, I didn't say anything. Why are you getting upset?" And he was like, "No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to use it, you can, but whatever." I'm like, "I'm fine."
Sounds like a chump.
I'm fine.
Man.
But that little moment, it wasn't even, "Oh, I got a bad vibe from him." I just didn't get a great vibe from him.
Yeah.
And I went with my gut, right? And thank God I did.
You always
100%
go with your gut.
Yeah.
Of course.
I have found that to be the truth in my whole life. Is my gut is usually right.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, like, some women that I met, like, they, you know, if I, like, sometimes they'll think, like, I'm trying to flex or something. Like, you know, I'll just mention some things like, "Oh, I had to go stop by, you know, this, you know, kind of like, you know, famous place or whatever." It's like, "Oh, why are you trying to impress me?" I was letting you know why I was late or something. And I was like, and then I just decided to, you know, just be like, not everything's about you. That's the response that I give to people now.
Yeah.
Or like people, or like when girls, when they like try to think, when they think that I'm trying to like impress them or whatever, it's like, well, not everything's about you.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah,
That's a good one. I'll use that one.
Yeah,
If I
I've definitely found that to be an issue too, because I try to be somewhat sensitive, because I understand there is a lot of sensitivity when it comes to male-female relations and all that, but obviously I'm not gonna be that. I'm not that guy that's I'm not a super aggressive, forceful guy. But I found that like even like sometimes saying hello to somebody, just like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" It's like, and they give me that look of like, "Oh, who are you?" kind of attitude. But being in a strange country and having some guy, "Oh, well, you can use my bathroom."
No,
I mean, it's weird. It's weird. It would be very weird.
And it's a bathroom. That's really weird. You don't do that.
I would be weird if I
bathroom.
being a guy, being in your situation, is like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to use this public bathroom." I don't know who that guy is.
It's not like he was offering a pen or something.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's also it's not the strangest thing, right? Like I've said yes to stranger things before, you know, but I just didn't get this warming, welcoming vibe from him,
Right.
And the thing is, like, I wasn't rude to him. I wasn't like bitchy or snarky or just like looking at him weird. I was nice. I was having conversation with him.
You just respectfully declined, right?
I just said, "Oh, no, thank you. Like, my friends are coming. Like, no worries," right? There was no, "You're a bad guy." Like, I didn't give him a weird look. Like, he doesn't deserve that.
It wasn't
right?
the "how dare you talk to me" look.
No. I mean, I was very nice and friendly. I wasn't completely comfortable with him, but I responded in like the most polite way that I can, because it's not in me to just be snarky all the time. So I think that's a different case, right? Like they're just
Absolutely.
being very defensive, and you're like, well, I didn't say anything or I didn't do anything, right? So like I didn't
Not
feel
everything's
like
about you.
yeah, I didn't feel like I should be rude to him because he didn't do anything to me. Like he wasn't some weird guy. I just wasn't fully comfortable, and I politely said no, and he got very offensive.
Right.
It's like why you mad? Why you pissed off? Like I didn't do anything.
Oh, and we kind of talked a little bit of that before we started filming too, where I was in the military, so we were trained to be able to kind of have this sixth sense for in a sense kind of be paranoid of situations around us, and you can almost feel that atmosphere. It's like something's just not. He might not be a bad guy, but like the atmosphere is just not right, and I'm not gonna
situational awareness.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's not just about safety either. It's like if you're bored, like go, like don't be in a situation where you're bored, unhappy, or you're uncomfortable, or it's just not your scene.
Absolutely.
Right? Anything that doesn't serve you, like you don't need to be there. Right?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we'll continuing with our world travel talk, we were gonna ask you what are your favorite travel experiences, but obviously you have so many to choose from. I want to help narrow it down a little bit, to help someone like Andy, James, or myself, as far as if you could give us some advice as to what we should look for, if let's say what would be an experience if I'm looking for historical sites to look at. Or James is more of kind of the social butterfly, maybe he's just trying to meet new people. And Andy, I have no idea what the hell Andy does. So,
Yes, I'm a mystery.
I go wherever.
I bring the fun. That's all. Just point me in a direction.
Yeah.
I bring
So
the
let's
fun.
go with what are some of your favorite historical sites to go see? If someone wants to go see historical sites, for James, someone who wants to go meet new people, very diverse people. And Andy, who the hell cares about Andy?
Just wherever you guys go, take them with you. For historical sites, I would just absolutely recommend, of course, Israel and Egypt.
Egypt? Okay.
But I would also recommend India for that.
I was going to ask you about India. You're very fond of India, so
Yeah, I am very fond of India.
No, because I'm gonna, since you're talking about India a little bit, we had a missionary on here who, a good friend of mine, who she's from India. She's from, and we learned a lot about India that day because it's a very diverse country. There's
really
so many
is.
different parts of India.
Yeah.
And it's not just the Apu India, where it's. They're all over the map, India-wise. Where did you travel specifically in India?
And how many times have you been in India?
The first time I traveled to India was last year for a friend's wedding. And I landed in Mumbai. I hung out there for a little bit. Then I was in Chennai. Then I went to Jaipur. And then back to Mumbai. And then my second trip, I was in Mumbai, Goa. Those two are the only places. And then my third trip, I was in Mumbai and Pune.
To kind of break down, because obviously there's all those cities, and I kind of know where they are, but explain to the audience as what part of India that is.
So Mumbai and Pune, I believe, are in the central area.
Okay.
And then Jaipur, I believe, is in the northern part, and then Chennai is south.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more considered South India.
Okay. Yeah, because my friend, she's from a place called the Nagaland. That's where she's from, which I think is more
northern.
The northern India. So it's kind of closer to the Middle East. That portion of India, which is very different from New Delhi or any place like that.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, my first experience of India was in South India in Chennai for my friend's wedding, and I fell in love with it. Right, because it was just such a culture shock, right? I was just, all of my senses, everything familiar was gone, right? Everything, the sound, the visual, the crossing the street was a challenge, right?
Right.
Just like the traffic in general. But what I loved about India is just how big it is. It's so big.
It's a huge country.
It's a huge country, and it's a clusterfuck of so many beautiful and crazy things.
Right.
Right? And they're all existing in one country. And it's just seeing how people adjust to each other, how they're so separate from each other and so united with each other, and and with the Me Too movement, and how women are now speaking up and making changes. Like when I was in Mumbai, what I really appreciated were the commercials. They're very like female empowerment related, right? Like their bras, like there's these girls like dancing in their bras, and like one's like oversized and one's like skinny, and they're all just like feeling beautiful. And that was like a very positive commercial to see in a place like India, where you wouldn't really expect, right? When people think about India, you know, and they don't know much about it, they'll make certain assumptions about it. And I'm like, you know, but from the commercials I saw, like, it was different, and the treatment that I got was different, right? I've met some incredible people. And one of my favorite things about Indians in general is their hospitality.
Yeah.
They're
very kind people.
They're very, very, very hospitable. And that is just, it's so much so that it made me uncomfortable, because Korean culture is not so hospitable in that way, right? Like, for example, if I go to India now, and if I don't stay at a friend's place, they would be offended. And that's happened. Yeah, they will be offended if I stay in a hotel and not in their house.
Right.
Right? It's like they're like, you must stay with me, and it's so aggressively kind and loving and beautiful, you know. And it's a really cool city. So actually, for James, I would recommend you going to Mumbai if you want to party. They know how to party. Like bars and clubs and restaurants in Mumbai are actually really cool. Really, really cool. I was very impressed.
I actually do want to go to India sometime, because one of my coworkers, she loved it there. She lived there for several months studying abroad, and she would say, go to India. And I told her about you. So, yeah, let me go with you sometime.
I love it. I can't wait to go back. And then last year when I went 3 times, it was just...
So you went 3 times last year?
I went 3 times in 1 year, right. Yeah. And I wouldn't have done it any other way.
For sure.
So as far as the historical sites in India, what did you like to see there? Like what would you recommend?
The
to go?
temples.
The temples.
The temples are actually.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
I guess we're all going to India.
Guys, yeah.
Because Israel, I know exactly the places I want to go see in Israel. Because there's no surprise here on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a huge biblical scholar, so I want to go to the places that are all the biblical places to go there. I kind of want to, if I go to Korea or Japan, I want to go see, go into the countryside, see all the historical places there. England, all of Europe has, it's thousands of years of history where, I love the United States and I love the history that's here, but it's only a couple hundred years old, whereas
and there's so much beauty in the world. Why not explore that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To think that your country is just it. That's ignorant, right? No matter where you are, right? But to be like, hey, we have this, and that's great. But there's other parts of the world that are amazing in other things, and to appreciate that, that idea in itself, I feel like cuts down a lot of the ignorance.
Right, exactly.
Because people ask me all the time where my favorite city in the world is, and to this day, it's Los Angeles. It is. I can't.
I hate the city, but I love the city.
I live and die in LA.
I love it, and I think the more I travel, the more I love it. Right, and it's my home. Right, like Southern California in general is my home. So, and if I say any other city, like there's a part of me that just won't fully believe it. Right, because I have so much love here. But I do believe that there's so many other places in the world that they have that LA doesn't, and I appreciate that. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna start talking smack about my place. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. I think as far as traveling abroad, I think that also helps to appreciate where you come from at the same time. Yeah,
for sure.
It's these places are great, but God, it's so good to be home.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love my bed. My bed is the best feeling ever.
I love my own bathroom.
Yeah.
I
love my space. Yeah, you really appreciate home for sure. And I think that's an attitude, right? If you choose to learn and you choose to be appreciative and have a heart of gratitude, then that will carry on at home too.
Right. So the temples in India are something that you recommend?
It is so cool. There's so many spots in India that I can recommend, and we'll talk about that later because there's just a whole list of stuff and a bunch of other things like nature and everything. But historically, temples, they're actually incredibly fascinating. If you see the craftsmanship.
I always appreciate that.
Yeah,
it being because I studied architecture and all that stuff. It's fun.
There's so much love
right.
in their art, when they're building these temples. So I think you'd really appreciate that. Also, another great historical place is Egypt.
Yeah. What did you like in Egypt the most?
Oh my God.
Was it the pyramids or because obviously everyone thinks of the pyramid of Giza or the Sphinx. Like, is there anything else that you would recommend?
I mean, you absolutely should visit the pyramids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, and the reason is because whatever you see on TV, whatever you see on the computer, just does not compare to
They're
the
huge.
magnitude of what you see.
They're giants.
And it really, I mean, it's just like blocks if you think about it, but it just like the energy and the magnitude of it just kind of blows you away.
What I'm always fascinated when it comes to the pyramids is we kind of think of the ancients as being these dumb they didn't know anything, but the engineering that went behind the pyramids, I mean, it's like they didn't have the technology that we have today for accuracy, but they're more accurate than we are today almost, where I forget which pyramid or temple that they have there, but they had to do it so perfectly where at a certain point of the day the sun hits it at the right point and it just illuminates the entire temple, and it was based off their worship that they did back then, but the engineering that went behind that is just completely it blows your mind.
It blows your mind. I went to King Tut, and I was the one reading every single little thing, and I was like, where's the question about this? Like, where's the answer on this? Like, I was so pissed because I had so many questions, even though I was reading all the information provided. And it was so incredibly fascinating. It's just so interesting. And the thing is, from what I understand and from what I've been told, even Egyptians in Egypt don't really know how the pyramids were made.
Right.
Like, they don't know. They don't really know.
Yeah, the knowledge wasn't passed down.
Yeah, so they know, they actually believe in magic. They believe in aliens.
Obviously,
right?
yeah.
It's because they're like, how else can you explain this?
Right. There's so many theories. From a biblical perspective, we would, the Jews were, the part of that. But even then, you had people who were building those things, where it was kind of a worship to the pharaoh and their gods, and it was an honor to build those
exactly
pyramids.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And so there was part of that too. And it's like, well,
it was out of love. And,
was it all of that, or was it some of it, or and then you get the people. It's like, oh, it was aliens that did it. It's like there's no way that humans had that knowledge or understanding of things. I don't tend to agree with that. I do believe that it was I'm one of those crazy people. I think the ancients were a hell of a lot smarter than we are today. Even the best and brightest that we have, pale in comparison to the knowledge that they had back then.
I mean, they definitely knew and saw something. For
Absolutely,
sure.
definitely.
For sure. If you look at their art and you see their writing, you question a lot of things that you question a lot of things, and you're like, what do I know, right? What do I know, right? And I'm in no position to deny whatever they saw or experienced. I mean, I can make my own judgments on it, but it's so fascinating to see where they were. We only have a glimpse of it, and it's just the most amazing thing. Imagine what we don't know, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is really cool. So I would recommend Egypt for sure. Also, the Nile. I stayed in a hotel that was a boat on the Nile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my view was the Nile. I would wake up to the Nile on the rooftop, and they would go around the Nile
I mean, that's a huge river.
How
I mean, obviously you've been there, so how big is that river?
Oh, it's massive. But if you just look at it, right, you're just like, oh, it's just water. Okay, I looked at it visually, and I looked at it internally. Visually, it's just water. But why does it feel like magic?
Yeah, right.
You're like, there's so much energy here, and there's so much I don't know how to describe it, but it was just I feel like I was I needed that. I needed this this energy, and it was very powerful and uplifting, and I was addicted to it.
That's
you
so
know?
Cool.
And I'm like, it's so strange because if you just look at it, it's just water, right? Truly, it's water. But why is it more than just that? I feel it. I feel the history. I feel the energy.
Right.
And that's fascinating.
this is why I love history so much, because you go to these historical places and you almost like you hear like the ghosts that are whispering from the past from those places.
That's a great way to say
Yeah, because
that.
one of my favorite loves. I'm a sports guy, and you go to some of the exactly. But racing, same thing. You go to the big historical racetracks, and you can feel the ghosts of like the past drivers from way back in the time.
The energy, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the same thing with those historical sites. Like, I've been to back to the East Coast. I went to like Virginia and like all of the Civil War sites, and it's like you can feel the energy of like all the past, everyone that was there, and it's just there's something it's one of those weird things, like I don't know how to explain it, but like you can feel the people that were there.
It's bigger than you.
Exactly.
It's beyond what you can see, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where spirituality comes in.
Right.
You know what I mean? You were like, we believe in it because it's hard. You can't find words, but it's a connection. Like you feel it, and someone else feels it too, and that validates what's going on.
Even though you're separated by potentially thousands of years, like you're now connected with those people from way back when.
Yeah, it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
For you, another party place I recommend is Taiwan.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
Have you been to Taiwan?
No, I never had an interest. I've been to Thailand though. Thailand was awesome. Thailand was crazy all
I
around.
went to Taiwan because my best friend got married there, and she was like, Christina, because she knows the places I like to travel to, and she's like, Christina, I think you're gonna really like it, and she was like trying to sell me on it. I was like, girl, I don't even care. I'm gonna go for your wedding, right? So I stayed there for a couple days afterwards, and honestly, going there by myself and socialize, it was just the coolest.
Really?
It was one of the coolest times I've had, because Taiwanese are extremely friendly, and they're super fun. So I had like chicks just coming up to me and like wanting to dance with me and like drink with them and stuff, and they're just cool. Like, it's not like they're trying to pull me in for their guys. Like, their guys weren't even, like, paying attention. I mean, a little bit, but not really. That was not the point. Right? They're just there, like, oh, you look so much fun. Like, let's have a good time. Like, okay. Like, you look so... It was such a good vibe. It's such a good energy. And every place I went to, it was the same energy and vibe where everyone's just trying to have a good time. Like, they're extremely friendly. You wouldn't really expect that in a place like Korea. I had a hard time in Korea, like, in terms of socializing. I'd always have to play the I'm American card, so they would be like, okay, you're a little weird, but it makes sense. It's okay, right? But in Taiwan, I didn't get that at all.
Wow.
It was just so much fun. I was extremely surprised. The food is so good. Like, the street food is really good. So there was this one breakfast place that I would go to every morning when I was staying in the hotel. And the guys, like, knew me, and they would, like, bring the food downstairs for me and stuff. Like, I couldn't stop eating their food. Like, it's amazing. I think you would really like it. And it's not a typical place you would think of to party.
Yeah.
But whenever I went out, I had just a very social time.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so easy to integrate yourself into the culture and the people. I went to a restaurant the first night I landed, right? I was like, I'm going to get some like beef noodle soup or whatever. So I walked somewhere randomly by myself, and I felt super safe. It's a super safe place, so I'd recommend a lot of women to go there as well. And I was just sitting down at a table trying to order something, and this table next to me just started talking to me, and they're like, hey, like, welcome here. We're excited, yada, yada, yada. And they, like, helped me with the menu. They were just so friendly, right? And it was very pure. It was very kind, and
Really cool.
I loved it, yeah.
Yeah, for me, Thailand was, like, number one. I haven't been to too many places, but it was so fun, nice people, very naturey, but I'll definitely consider Taiwan. I think maybe a lot of it also why people are friendly with you is because you're, like, an attractive young female,
That definitely
It might be
helps.
different if we go. They'll be like, "Who the hell are you?" No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
but
I do.
I get what you're saying, though, yeah.
like if like Taiwan, like there's so many countries that I go to, and I compare like the energy that I get from people, right? And some of them is like very like, oh my god, hi, and some of them is like, oh hey, like you're fun, right? Because you exchange that energy with other people, right? So you kind of feel it, and you go with it or you don't, depending on wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Taiwan, it was just like a very like fun energy.
Okay.
Like people were just trying to have fun, and I was socializing with everybody, and so maybe that's why it attracted a lot of people to like want me to hang out with them. But I never felt that much of like a social energy from a place before. I know, right? Taiwan. You wouldn't really think that, but it's just if you ask anybody who's been to Taiwan, it's so cool.
Yeah, I've got Taiwanese friends.
It's
I'll
such
holler
a
at
cool
them.
place. It's so freaking
I hear
cool.
good things.
Very
I hear
cool,
good
yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
freaking cool. Like I did not expect that experience when I went. I was just like, okay, Taiwan is so close to Korea, like whatever. But it was so cool.
Thanks for the recommendation. I'll
Yeah.
definitely consider it. I got to cut out now, though. But you guys
Okay.
Yeah,
continue.
no, you're good.
Yeah.
I gotta
So
go.
yeah, we'll let you cut out, but we have
Go ahead.
one more thing that we're gonna cover before you head out.
Bye. So good seeing you. Have fun.
So considering all the travel recommendations, I think food is obviously everyone loves food. So,
Yes.
what are your favorite food destinations? And maybe like you can talk about like some of the dishes that you really enjoyed in some of those travels.
Oh man.
We'll limit it to like let's say like top 3.
Definitely. I actually fell in love with South Indian food.
Okay.
South Indian food is different from North Indian food. a
Very
little bit.
different, yeah.
And I don't know if it's because my first South Indian food experience was at my friend's wedding. That was just like just amazing, right? It was just it was a production. Like it was crazy, and the food was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I fell in love with South Indian food. I love South Indian food. I have to say Korean food.
I can't argue with
It's
there. I
so
love Korean
good.
food too.
It is so freaking
Yeah,
good. I can't.
I think it's at least in America.
It's weird because it's funny. My favorite Korean dish, like a lot of even Koreans don't even like, because I like the black goat stew, the yumsatan. Yeah, that's my personal favorite.
That's
dish.
your favorite?
Yeah, I like everything. Yeah,
That's good when
yeah.
you're traveling because you can't be picky when you're
No,
traveling.
of course not. Like you can't be like, oh, like
Yeah.
you just gotta go with it.
You just have to. Yeah, you just have to try it, and if you don't like it, then that's that.
Yeah,
But for me, I'm the type of person if I eat something and if it tastes weird, I'll just keep eating it
yeah.
to
Until you like
analyze
it?
it.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, that's weird. Oh, that's really weird. Oh, that's kind of weird. Like
So-
just to analyze.
So, since you like Southern Indian cuisine, what did you really like from their dishes?
their dosas.
Dosa. What is that?
Dosa is like this. How do I describe? So they have different chutneys.
Yeah.
Right. And dosa is kind of like a crispy, like a very thin, crispy breaded thing. And they roll it, and it's like, and you rip it apart, and you just dip it in, and you
Right,
eat it.
exactly.
And sometimes they have like potatoes in there.
Mhm.
It is so
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I've had that before. I just wanted to make sure that you explained it for them.
I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you have to try it.
And so obviously Korea is there. Like, what's your favorite Korean dish? What do you really enjoy the most?
I'm definitely like a full-on Korean barbecue beef kind of girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I love like the non-marinated. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
non-marinated beef.
Yeah, so not bulgogi or kalbi.
I mean, they're good, but
I love those too,
I
but-
don't really like pick those. I don't really pick it unless I'm at BCD, right? And
Yeah.
I get the combo.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
It was
I'm
so
weird
funny because like when Korean food was like just starting to get really popular. I remember non-Korean people, they'd always come up to me like, "Oh man, bulgogi is so awesome." It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you don't even know.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
just like the first like little tiptoes
Yeah,
into the pool.
exactly.
You have no. They really have no idea what
Yeah.
they're getting
And I'm
into.
like, that's nice.
I know that's good for you.
That's nice.
Good for you.
What
I'm-
else?
I'm weird because like I could get. I'm fine with just like some like kimchi and like I like the purple rice. Like yeah.
With the wild grain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the wild grain rice. Like
I
I'm
hate
fine
that
with
crap.
that. You're an insane person, Andy. But that's okay.
It's just because my mom's trying to growing up trying to get me to eat healthy. and
Yeah,
stuff,
that's
and
ex-
that was
that-
like the only
that's my
reason.
memory, too.
That's the only reason
my
why
memory, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
I don't. It's not that I hate it. It's I don't prefer it.
it's
Yeah.
just like when you're forced to eat it as a child.
You hate yeah.
You're just like, oh, why, right?
exactly yeah.
Exactly.
It was that.
It's
I
just
know
not
that feeling.
preferable to me. It's not. I'm not
I
saying
like
that
it
I
because
hate
it has
it.
more.
It's not
I feel like
preferable.
it has more flavor than just like the white rice.
Yeah, but we just feel like
True.
it takes away the other flavors,
But I think
right?
yeah, because
away the
the
flavor from
white
everything
rice,
else.
the white rice is like kind of like it has like its own kind of it has like a sweetness.
Right.
But it has like a really it's it's bland.
It's also
just
like
bland, but then
it's
it also
complementary.
it's complementary exactly.
It's complementary to everything. That's why.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. I get
because like
that.
sometimes like the kimchi's like a little too intense. You get a little bit of the rice. You have a little bit of I don't know, whatever.
I'm not discriminating against the white rice. The white rice
No,
is
of course
great.
not. I'm explaining.
Just FYI, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, explaining from just
I get it,
from
I
a
get it.
gastronomical point of view.
And I tend to like with Korean dishes. I tend to like more of the like soups and stews that come with Korea. Like
interesting.
I like
seolleong.
yumsotang is like my favorite. Like hands down, I'll eat that all day long. It's
Man,
so
you know
good.
a lot of Korean dishes. Korean food is good.
Yeah, like I also
good.
like mandukuk is like one of my favorites.
That's really
Rob's
good.
an honorary Korean, so
Yeah,
I can see that now.
and
yeah.
oh god, what is the other one that I eat a lot? There's a bunch of like the soups and stews that I just love. Like sundubu is like another one that I love the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my comfort food.
And I'm not even like a big fan of like tofu or anything like that, but like
Yeah.
sundubu is just fantastic, especially when you get it with
It's funny
like
'cause,
beef
I'm
or
I'm not that much of a soup person.
Yeah,
which is like I know, which is really weird because like half of the Korean what is it? Cuisine, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Cuisine is like soups and stews,
Yeah.
but it's like I can't. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I can't have it all the time. And it's just like
Right.
because if I eat it, then like it doesn't leave me full. Even though there's like a lot of like vegetables and like things that like get
Gotta
you
mix
full.
it with rice.
yeah, and I
I mean,
think
even with
that's
the
the
rice, like I'll eat there with the rice, and then it's like I just get hungry again, and it's like this is useless. So when when I was growing up, and my mom would always have like doenjang jjigae or kimchi jjigae, it's like okay, this is nice, but then it's like I'm just gonna get hungry again.
Oh, yeah,
so my
that's the
mom
one
like
I've got.
always like complains like, why don't you eat stew? It's like because it's soup, all right, it's liquid. I'm gonna get hungry again.
You sound like my dad. But anyways, yeah, I forgot like yeah, like
I'm not-
You got a
but-
dad appetite.
It's true, but it's true though. It's soup. It's liquid. It's gonna go through me. It's not substantive.
that's the other one I forgot. I love kimchi jjigae. Like that's
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my
Yeah, I
favorites.
mean that's my favorite. Out of like the jjigaes or the cooks, that's like my favorite.
Yeah.
Do you like sundubu?
Yeah, I love sundubu.
I always get the kimchi sundubu.
Oh,
I always get the
BCD has like this new mandu sundubu.
That's what-
that's
that's-
my jam.
that's
my
the one I
jam.
get.
That's the one I used to always get until it started sucking up all the soup and all the
What?
broth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like,
Well,
wait,
then that's
hold
probably
on.
why I like it too, because then it's like
It's less, yeah,
There's less soup.
Yeah, and I'm like, where's my broth? No, I love my broth.
Oh man. Okay, so we have Indian food, we have Korean food. Like, what's the third one that you would recommend?
Taiwanese.
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 What in Taiwanese cuisine should people think about?
That's a really good question.
Because you think of like there's a ton of different like Asian dishes, but like Taiwanese is definitely not like in the thought of a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really. I don't know the names to any of these things. There's like this like slushy ice thing version that they have that's kind of like Korean, but it's like their own version.
Right.
That was like
And I know there's a ton of Chinese
really
influence
good
in their dishes
Yeah,
too.
and sometimes it's hot, which is weird, but it's so.
Wait. How's a slushy thing hot?
I don't know if the
Like
slushy
spicy?
thing. No,
Or-
Like
no.
do they like put chili powder or?
No, not like spicy, but like hot,
It's very odd.
right? And you're like, but it's so
Kind of breaks my
good.
brain right now.
It's really good, right? It's really really good. It looks a little funny because they put all these like gooey stuff in it, but it's excellent. What I did, because I didn't know much about like Taiwanese cuisine, I went for my friend's wedding, and I just ate whatever I saw, right? And I would ask them like, "What's delicious? What's Taiwanese? What's good?" I ate a lot of street food, a lot. So I didn't go to like really nice fancy restaurants. I've been to a couple, but I just consumed a lot of street food. And that was, and I explored, right? I tried this, I would try that. Their pancake, they have like this, I don't know if it's like a pancake or like a tortilla, but they wrap it with this pork inside, and it's just like,
Oh,
yeah, I've
that
heard of
sounds
that. I heard
fantastic.
of
like
that.
every morning.
That's,
yes.
Okay, then that would be the criteria for me. Food, because I love food.
Yeah,
Taiwanese food is
that's
excellent.
Andy's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my yeah.
Because I'm one of those people too. Like, food is definitely, history is a big portion, but food obviously is another huge influence.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
mean, I really enjoy the food in Israel as well.
Yeah, I do.
there's
I do love their food.
There's like a hummus shop in
Ooh.
Jaffa which is right next to Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
There's this crazy line, right? I don't even know how to get there. My friend took me there. There's this crazy line. And I'm like, this is a hummus place. Like, what? I've been to hummus places before, and you're just like, okay, cool. My mind was blown. I was like, I cannot believe, like, hummus is this amazing and this good. And I got it hot.
Hot hummus.
Hot hummus.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, the watery.
Yep.
Oh my god, with the onions, I was just like,
it's so
my
good.
God, I'm gonna cry. It's so amazing. I was like, I've never had that again.
Right.
It's just only that one time.
Food has a special power in that way. It's like, this is the most inspired thing I've ever eaten before.
Yeah. And I actually, I made a friend there who created a restaurant in Thailand, right? So he's a chef.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually taught me how to make shakshuka.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I'm. Food is so important to me because every time I travel, I've traveled all across the U.S. Like there's obviously the big chain restaurants or the whatever every tourist goes to. I like to go. What do the locals love to enjoy the most? And that's what I always go for. Like I don't care about like what's the everyone wants to go to. Like what do the locals like the most?
Exactly.
Yeah, even in the United States, like what do the locals like? What do they go to every day?
That's why you'll always see a line in Taiwan in like for like street carts or like street food.
Absolutely.
There's always a line. They're obviously locals.
Yep.
And it's like, of course, it's amazing. Like, and
Exactly.
it's super safe. It's easy to get around. It's cheap, right? It's very affordable. People are super friendly. I recommend Taiwan. I don't think Taiwan gets enough credit.
Yeah, you don't think of Taiwanese cuisine as being awesome, but it's
Boba, popcorn chicken, right?
Exactly.
Isn't that
Oh,
delicious?
yeah.
That's Taiwanese,
absolutely.
right? You don't think about that, but
You don't think about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've had all those things, and it's like
And you love it, right?
I'm not really a boba fan though. Just to be.
what about the popcorn chicken?
Oh, of
that's
course.
yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
Right?
that-
With the
yeah,
rice?
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, just I'm not a real boba person.
No, I like to get the drinks. I don't like to get the boba balls.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I used to love the boba balls, and I would think it's really weird if people didn't like them. But now I'm like,
Now that I'm older, it's like it's just in the way.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I know that's like old man kind of thinking, but it gets in the way.
it's just too sweet for me. Like it's like gum. I'm done.
Well, it's like I'm drinking, and then all of a sudden, like something solid comes in. It's like, oh, you have to chew. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
remember, we used to love that.
Yeah.
Even back
Is that when we had more time to chew?
I think that's the case because like I did used to like the boba part. Like
Yeah.
I've always loved the drink, but like the boba part, I'm like
I actually was never.
I've gotten tired of it, the boba part.
Even back when I was a kid, I wasn't a fan of the boba.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved boba at some point in my life.
Me
I
too.
loved
It's like
it.
all
Same-
of my
same
friends
here.
would go and get boba, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to.
And
I don't
I
want to
s-
be the weird guy and not get the boba. But I was like, I guess I got older. I was like, I can go, but I don't have to get the boba. It's
You
like,
don't have to get the boba. I don't
Right.
get the boba anymore.
I don't get the boba.
yeah, I'm the
either.
same way. I can't do it anymore. It's just like it's just in the
It's
way.
too sweet for me.
Yeah,
It's too much sweetness. It's like,
yeah.
ugh,
Yeah, 'cause you have, like,
it's
the sweet-
hacking me.
Yeah, because you have the sweetness of the drink, and then
Exactly.
you have the boba balls, and it's like this is too much sweetness. This
Yeah.
is diabetes in a cup.
We're definitely 30s.
Absolutely.
It's too sweet.
Yeah, I've been like one of those
Too
weird
much.
because I personally hate dessert, like like the cakes and stuff like that.
What?
I don't
Explain yourself.
I don't hate all desserts. Like I love pie, but
Pie's
I
good.
tend to like more like fruits for like my dessert. Like I'll eat like oranges or grapes or.
Oh my
like,
god, you're so healthy.
But that's actually not the case. The way I eat, I should be like 500 pounds, but
the fruit, the fruit
yeah,
you
but
trade
like,
for?
but as far as like, I've always hated cake. Even when I was a kid, I hated cake.
All types of cake, like
All types-
cheesecake.
Yep. I don't like
I think cheesecake is miscategorized though.
¿Por qué? I mean, why? Feels like have it.
yeah.
Or you could do French. Pourquoi? But because I think cheesecake is really a pie.
I would disagree, but
I made the case. I made the case to you.
I do agree with your case.
Yes.
I think it's its own category by itself.
Okay, so it's like
but-
it's not a hot dog. It's not a sandwich. It's an experience.
Exactly. And I'm not saying I hate cheesecake. I just it's
Well, because okay,
I don't love cheesecake, but
Right.
I understand it.
okay, Right, but this is my case for that cheesecake is miscategorized, and it's actually a pie, because one, it has a crust. All pies have crust. No cake has crust.
I can't argue that.
Yes,
True.
Yes, that's my argument.
Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. So I think cheesecake is miscategorized or mislabeled as a cake, but it's really a pie.
Isn't there like cheese pie too? But it's not really like cheese
Well,
pie.
now see, okay, here's the thing too. Like, there's people that are, the weirdos that put like cheese on their apple pie.
It's a Midwest thing.
Yeah, it's like they shred cheddar on like the pie, and
Yeah,
then before they bake it, and it's like they have like
But I
shredded
hear it's
like.
really good.
And it
I'm
sound-
down to try. I love cheese.
I have personally never tried it, so I can't say it's gross. It just sounds like it does not work.
But sometimes it surprises you.
Exactly,
Right?
I would
like
agree with
the
that.
ramen in the cheese in the ramen. You
See,
know,
I don't.
right?
I have tried that. I don't like it.
You don't like that?
I don't
okay.
like that. No.
I was surprised by how much I did like it. I was like, what?
But it has to be American cheese.
Yeah, it can't be any cheese. It has
No,
to be
it-
like the.
It has to be the fake cheese.
Yeah, the fake.
Exactly.
It has to be the American singles.
Because I'm also like one of those weirdos. Because I love like in my chili, I love like a lot of like cheddar cheese in there.
Yeah, I do
Oh,
too.
God,
I like
so
cheese
good.
in everything.
Are you a beans in your chili person?
I'm a cheese person.
Okay. Well, because we have this argument. I'm personally, I beans and chili is just disgusting to me.
Oh, I mean, beans are there. I don't get them at Chipotle. When they're like black or pinto, I'm like none. Give me the fajitas.
Oh, okay.
Like, give me
Okay.
the fajitas. But if it's there, I'll eat it. If it's part of the cuisine, I'll eat it. But if I have a choice, I won't put it in.
I think by itself, chili with beans is fine. But as
No,
no. Wait,
Oh,
wait,
God.
wait till I say
God.
the whole. Wait till I say the whole thing. Wait till I say the whole thing. Okay. Okay.
Shoot yourself, Andy.
I didn't say it was a good thing. I just said I don't mind. Okay, chili with beans as by itself, as its own self-contained meal, I'm okay with. But if it is a topping, no beans. Like if it's like on a chili dog or a chili burger, no beans.
I don't even like chili with like beans. Do not belong in chili. I'm sorry. Like there's gonna be people that like are yelling on their keyboards listening to this.
Well, I
but-
guess I'm just more libertarian. All right. It's like, all right. It's like you like beans, do whatever you want. I'm just not okay. I'm just not gonna get too worked up. It's like I have my preference. I'm with you in that like I typically don't want to have chili with beans. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna if my friend makes it, it's like, is there beans in it? And I'm gonna throw it in his face.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I don't think he's gonna do that either.
But I do.
I mean, that's
I'll
what
make
they-
a.
that is what they
make
deserve,
a special.
but
I make a
that's-
special category. Okay, so if it's by itself, if there's beans, okay, maybe. But if it's like a topping for like a chili burger or a chili dog, no beans.
Absolutely, I agree with that. But I think real chili, just by itself, the beans do not belong in there. I'm sorry. That's not chili at that point. It's something else. It's like a bean casserole at that point.
Yeah, I prefer a lot of meat and cheese in my
Exactly.
chili.
You
Yeah.
want meat, cheese, and onions. That's kind of, and like.
Oh, onions! I love onions.
Yeah, and it for me, I need to have like a big like punch. I love my chili spicy.
I've never had
Spicy
spicy chili.
chili.
Oh man, that's
Missing
so
out,
good.
girl.
It's
Missing
real
out.
good.
Yeah, I think I am.
You're missing out on life.
Yeah,
I-
I feel bad. For
Yeah,
myself.
I'm a big. I love Southern cuisine. Oh my god, it's so good. And barbecue, like I can tell you all
see,
the
that's-
different types of
good.
barbecue.
That's one of the things I want to do. I want to do a food tour of the South and just hit
Dude,
all
oh
the
my
barbecue
God,
places.
yeah.
All the barbecue
It's
places.
so good.
Get them tri-tip, get them burnt ends, get them ribs, every single way.
I've been all over
Louisiana
the-
style, Tennessee.
Woo.
I've been all over the place. I personally love Kansas City barbecue the best. I know people are yelling on their keyboards right now, listening to this, but
I know, caps lock and everything.
yeah, I do love some Kansas City barbecue. That's my favorite, but I do love all types of barbecue.
Right.
You can't go wrong with barbecue.
Oh,
it's,
you
it's
can't.
hard. It's hard to like mess it up. And if you do, that's messed up. You
Yeah.
know, it's like wow.
If
What?
you fuck up barbecue, you're doing something wrong.
Why? Why did you do this?
Now I will say, like this side of the Mississippi, like if you're in California, you got to travel to San Diego. You got to go to Phil's Barbecue. That's the best
Yeah.
place to go.
Yeah.
You're from San Diego.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We
It's,
got-
Their
no,
ribs
no,
are
no, no,
just
no.
out of this world.
it's like
I'm talking about West Coast. Like I'm not talking about
No,
the
no,
South.
we gotta go. We gotta go to this place called Ray's in Huntington Park.
Oh yeah, you told me over
Yes.
that. Like I do want to go
the
there.
moistest brisket I've ever had.
The most, really?
Yes, on this side of the Mississippi.
True. Okay, that's true.
And he imports his white oak from Texas.
True. I will say this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Phil's
Shout out
barbecue,
to Ray.
Yeah, Phil's barbecue. Their ribs are fantastic. I love their ribs. Their pulled pork's pretty good, but they do not. I don't think they have brisket there.
No.
Yeah, so I am willing to concede the brisket
Right.
as being the best because I saw that like giant barbecue
Yeah, the
burrito
meat man
that you
burrito.
had.
Yeah, it's like 2 pounds of brisket, pulled pork, 2 chorizo sausage, and macaroni and cheese.
man.
It's
For
like,
one person or for a party of like
no,
a family?
for one. It's like one order.
Oh my gosh.
It's like $40 though.
I could turn that into like 4 meals, but like it looked really
It's
good.
$40. I ate I went halvesies with a friend, but after eating my half, I was like, he was like eating it kind of like a wimp. I was like, hey man, you gonna finish that?
Damn, you gotta clean it out.
I do. But I also like in preparation for that. I was like, so
Did you like stretch out your stomach by eating a lot of stuff?
like in preparation to eat that.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, you just like went in.
but I just went and like
He's
I
an
just,
animal,
I just,
that's
I just
why.
had I just had maybe a banana before, and then because we went early on because like that place is only open from like 9 to 12 because they sell out their stuff fast.
Oh yeah,
damn,
a lot of those.
it's like that?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
those like good like barbecue places are kind of like they sell it quick. Like I will say that the best ribs I've ever had. I went to Washington D.C. Probably about 3-4 years ago now. There's a little like shack thing called King's Barbecue. And they sell out every single day. They open up at a certain time, and whenever they close, they sell out. They're open up until like 4, but they sell out quicker than that sometimes. But the ribs that they have, oh my god, they're so tender. They were just cooked perfectly. They don't need any sauce. That's how good they are. Because they do
That's
a
the
dry.
best.
They make their own barbecue sauce, which is also fantastic. But like the rub that they put on there, which is more of a St. Louis style.
So it's a tomato.
Or I'm sorry, not St. Louis. It's a Memphis style because they do like a dry
okay.
rub.
So mustard.
Because Memphis style barbecue is also fantastic. They do it, but they aren't like the wet barbecue. It's more of the dry rub for their ribs, which is what they did here.
Wait, Memphis is mustard based, right?
Or
Or is it vinegar based?
No, Texas I think is the one that's vinegar based.
Okay.
Memphis,
Oh wait, then the Carolinas and
Carolinas, and I think Texas, and I could be wrong on this, but I think they're more vinegar based. Whereas
I thought Carolinas were more mustard based.
that like I said, I could have that wrong. I always thought that like Memphis might be a little bit more mustard based, but they do a dry rub. They don't do like a wet like Tennessee barbecue is more of a dry rub,
Right.
which has its own type of flavor. And this is what they were kind of doing at this little shack that it's one of those carts that you see at the mall, and it's the sweetest couple that works this place, and they buy their ingredients that day, they cook everything, and they sell out every single day.
Wow.
And it's just you wouldn't think. I was thinking it was gonna be this building that like everyone goes to. Nope, little shack, and they have a couple tables, and then they sell out like about 2:00 every day.
Do a lot of people eat there, or
Everyone eats there. Like we went because like I said, going to places and asking the locals, oh, what's a good place there? Oh, you gotta go to this place. This is everyone goes here.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I mean, like we went there. We tried to get there the first day, like, and we got there a little bit late. It's like they were closed. So it's kind of like it's like damn. And
mom and pop needed to rest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we went there the second day. We missed it. It's like, oh, you should have called us. We would have saved something for you. And it's like, but like, I'm sorry, we sold out of everything. It's like, but if you come back tomorrow, we'll be here.
And so you went back.
We tried 3 times to get there, and we finally got
Jeez.
there. And it was worth it. It's so worth it.
Jeez.
Food does that. It makes
Yeah.
you do things.
It has a power.
Yeah.
It has a power.
I mean, we did that, and like we did the Fisherman's Wharf there, which was
Right,
surprisingly good. Like their lobster stew that they served there. Oh god, it was so
that is
good.
good.
You and your stews.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for stew, man. Like I think that's why I like
I mean,
Korean
that is
food
pretty
so much.
good. Yeah.
but yeah, no.
I remember one time I went during spring break to San Francisco, and then me and my friends, every morning we go to Fisherman's Wharf and have a bowl of clam chowder for breakfast.
Oh yeah. I love a good clam chowder.
I love clam chowder.
New England
the bread.
No, okay, so
Oh,
are
yeah,
you?
and
Are you?
Yeah,
a
I was
New-
in the bread bowls too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you a New England clam chowder or a Brooklyn clam chowder fan?
I've never been to Brooklyn.
Or you never
Well,
had Brooklyn?
well, it's a different. I mean, they serve it at other places, but it's a different style of clam chowder.
I did not know this. What's
What's the difference?
The difference.
So the other clam is it Manhattan or is it Brooklyn? I always forget. It's some like
in
New
New
York
York.
thing, yeah. But it's a tomato based clam chowder.
Oh.
No, I haven't.
Not it's
I've
not
heard,
it's
like-
not a potato based one like the New England one.
Right,
is.
where it's
Oh,
like
no,
with the
yeah.
cream.
No, I haven't tried.
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
not the cream based one. It's a
Okay.
tomato based one.
Oh.
Have you tried that, Andy?
No,
I
but
haven't
I've heard
either.
about because I've heard like about clam chowder, red base or white base.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and that's the
And
difference,
yeah.
and it does taste very different.
Which one do you like?
Yeah, God, it depends. Because there's some people where like I do love the tomato base. I love tomatoes, so that's it's pretty good. But like good New England, like real good New England clam chowder. Oh man, you can't beat that. It's so good.
It's so comforting.
Yeah, like it. I would say
The oyster crackers?
the oh yeah. Well, you can use them for both,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I would say the New England clam chowder is more filling.
Yeah.
But the
He
flavor,
loves that.
I do think that there is a little bit more flavor in the other kind.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
there's like a lot of tomato.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that makes
There,
sense.
there's a lot of tomatoes and peppers in there too,
Mhm.
which I do like. But the New England clam chowder is very filling and comforting. So,
I can see that.
yeah.
But Italian food is also really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Florence, they have this. The Florence cuisine is like this massive steak, and they like cut the beef like in front of the door.
You have my attention.
I finished that whole thing by myself. It was
Really?
my
How many
birthday.
ounces?
Well, even like Italian cuisine, depending on where you go, it's very different. Kind
It's
of like how
very
how it is
different,
here. Like
yeah.
you go to
It's
different parts of the
extremely
country,
different, yeah.
cuisine's very different.
Yeah, people would just think like pizza and spaghetti.
No,
and
it's
ravioli,
very
and it's
different.
like it's no. Even their pizza and their spaghetti is very,
Very
different.
different.
Yeah.
Very different.
I also heard that. Alfredo is an American invention.
I
Pro-
would not be surprised. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't eat Alfredo there,
Mm.
so I didn't ask for
A-
it.
I mean, a lot of the food that we have here is very it's fusion,
Like
it's,
burritos?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
kind of like
burritos.
it's an invention based off of like the from that culture, but like also changing it at the same time.
yeah,
True.
pizza tastes like just completely different.
I really want to try like the Neapolitan style.
Pizza.
Yeah, Neapolitan pizza. Because I heard it seems really simple because it's just like sauce, cheese, and like
Tomatoes.
well, no, yeah, like it's just like it's like crushed tomatoes, just like cheese, and then like drizzle of olive oil, and then what's that green herb?
Basil.
Oregano.
Basil. Yeah, just like basil, and then it's like in an oven.
Oh, that's good
Yeah.
too.
I
Sounds
just-
awesome.
I would really want to try Neapolitan style.
Yeah, I think I did try that.
Mm.
It was
In Naples,
different.
or-
Yeah, in Naples. There's like this one place where like all the presidents is extremely famous. Like everyone goes there. And I think with the three of us, I think we split like 3 pizzas. Like we ate so, but they're so thin too.
Yeah.
And they
they're like
taste.
smaller, right? They're almost like personal size.
Yeah, they were a little bit. We ordered like the bigger ones, but it's good. It's just like don't expect like Pizza Hut.
No,
Right,
of course
like-
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like sometimes like we're so used to that idea of pizza that like you can't help but sometimes be like, oh, it's so different. Like your expectations are not there. If you take away your expectations, it's the simplicity of the taste is wonderful, right? I love spicy, so I was the one asking for like the chili oil the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it was like the Asian. in me,
I'm a
maybe.
crazy person like that too. Like I'm like we can make this a little bit spicier.
Can we get the chili oil? And he gave us the whole bottle because we kept asking for it.
The oh Oh God! Speaking of food, like it just makes me hungry. I'm already.
I know. I'm like, oh.
I think we're hungry because we've been on this topic of food for a
Yeah.
really long time.
And you're like, let's talk about food. Tell me more about food.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
food.
so that's Andy's reason for traveling is for food.
Yes,
He's.
But
he's
also,
that
you know,
person.
like really nice vistas, so I could take, so for pictures.
Yeah, he's any good like photography points. Like we'll close with this. Like any good like photography moments that you might have had, like any views that you really enjoyed.
Like landscapes, basically landscapes, or cityscapes, or waterscapes.
Yeah, that's hard to say because even in the United States and even Los Angeles, there's so many beautiful spots that you can photograph,
Absolutely.
right? And you can just photograph this moment or like this bottle, and it's an opportunity to like create something beautiful. So, I mean, going to a new place, I think wherever you choose to go, and you have this open mind, and you're willing to see the beauty in all things, like you will. And I think that's the point of a photographer, right? Like showing the beauty that people won't normally get to see, and like seeing it from your perspective. So I think I would feel weird like saying one or two specific places because truly there's so many beautiful things anywhere you go. And it's especially those places where you're like, oh, it's just a street, right? But you're like, no, but there's something about this that looks amazing and beautiful. There's beauty to this.
Okay, let maybe we'll break it down then. Like, would you have like a like one where like nature is like the focus? Like, is there a good like natural site to take pictures of? And like, what was your favorite like more of like urban city landscape to take a picture of?
Nature, Puerto Rico and Costa Rica.
Okay,
It comes to my mind right now.
like the jungles that are down there.
The beaches, the sky, and the drive.
Okay.
Right? I've been to like several drives in Costa Rica, and I've been to a drive in Puerto Rico, and it took my breath away. It really did. Just like the greens and the valleys and the I can't. Like I was like, this is heaven.
It's nice. Yeah.
This is like a little piece of heaven. It's just so gorgeous. It felt like paradise. And it really is just so stunning. Urban city areas, I would say Cuba.
Okay.
Was actually, I mean, I wouldn't say like an urban place, but Cuba was definitely a very, very, very visually interesting place.
I know it's very colorful down there.
Very colorful, very old, but the details are just beautiful and amazing, and you see the history of it, right?
Right. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
I know.
guys. This was cool.
Yeah, exactly. We kept you a little bit longer than we thought we were going to keep you.
We were talking about food. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And we just want to thank you so much for coming on. How can people reach you? Like, do you have any social medias that people can reach out to you, or if they want to get connected with your business, how can they reach you?
I guess the best place to reach out to me would be my Instagram.
Okay.
And it's hi_I'm_Christina. HI_IM_Christina with a CH. Yeah.
Awesome. And for your business, like, is there any way that people can connect
so
there?
If you guys want any jewelry, you can email me at kalonaidesigns@gmail.com. That's KALONAI designs@gmail.com.
Okay,
We'll
and
have it all
we'll have all
description.
that in the descriptions. But I figured have you spell it out for us here, there. And thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate. You're a very unique guest. We love having you here.
Thank you. This was a
And-
lot of
Ain't
fun.
that special? Shoot.
Well,
Jealous haters gonna hate.
Well,
Whatever.
And
Whatever,
Andy
bitch.
loves to hate on people. It's okay. I try to make our guests feel welcome and special.
I
so.
get all hate from him all the time.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
But that's why we're friends.
Yeah,
It makes
exactly. But seriously, thank you for coming on. I know your schedule's kind of tough, and it was we've had some issues getting you on, but we're happy to have you, and we'll definitely have you on again to share more about
because
your
it all
adventures.
worked out in the end, right, Robert?
It did work out in the end. I was skeptical, but I'm very happy that it worked out. So
Well, that was also a callback to another episode.
oh yeah. We do have some issues as far as getting some guests on here, but we're very happy to have you here. And we'll have you on again to share more about your travels, and maybe just have you on as a guest, and you can kind of, we have another guest, you can kind of lambast them with your own
be
way.
a special guest host.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can be. You're an honorary jerk now. You know that, right?
Hey, don't be handing out jerk titles. Just
Well,
willy-nilly.
all our
Deserve
guests are
it.
honorary jerks.
No.
Okay, well, I'm making you an honorary jerk. So.
I accept it.
You know I can hear you guys.
Oh, what, Andy? Okay. We weren't talking about anything.
So yeah, we'll have you on as a special guest at some point while we lambast some other guest.
Some other poor fool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, anyways, that's our episode for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please reach out to Christina if you have any questions or want to hit up for business. Yeah, that's why you're here. Yeah, shill yourself. I always say that. You can reach out to us on our various media platforms. We have our Instagram, which is Circle of Jerks Podcast. Twitter, we are at PodcastCOJ. We will always, reach out to you guys on those platforms. If you're looking for more content, we have our various episodes on our library. We have this podcast. We've filmed several episodes that'll be out on YouTube. If you're looking for interaction, we do have a live stream every Tuesday around 8-ish. We do movie reviews. We talk about what's going on in the news, our various thoughts on things. Andy is very confrontational, so he's looking for those hate comments. So come and hit us up for that and interact with us. We have, although it is on hiatus, we do have a gaming show called Up by Up Down that is hosted by your lovely host here. And if you're into classic video games and talking about gaming, please hit us up on that show. And we will see you next time with our either just the podcast folks or a special guest. So see you next time.
Deuces.
Awesome. Wow, like 2 hours.
I know, it goes by really fast.
Yeah, it does.
So
Our